Welcome back to K&L Farms. I'm Ken. I hope this video finds you well. Now the other day in the wood shop, and if you've been following me along, you know that I'm trying to build a wood shop inside of my garage, but I was doing an outlet. We had an outlet, it got damaged. I hope you can see this on the screen. The bottom got broke off. Don't know how the bottom got broke off, but it got broke off. And I was concerned that a grandkid would come, and the first thing they're going to want to do is put their finger in there. So I was trying to change this. And I was just going to change it from a broken one back into a new one. And I illustrated this tester. And I got a comment. And we'll go over, I guess, migration through the testers, and I'll leave down in the description, if you'd like to go take a look, a unit that you can actually purchase, because I think electrical safety is a big item. But I showed this tester, and someone actually said, can I purchase this tester? And on that video I said, no, this is an antique, and I probably bought this 40 years ago. So let's go with, this is 40 years old. And let's go with this one, which I'll illustrate the differences in these here shortly. But this one here is for, I use for AC and DC, and AC and DC. Let's go with AC. If it's in your house or in your homestead involving a building, it's probably AC. If it's DC, the way I remember it, and the easiest way to do it, is if it's got a rubber tire, it's DC. This tester won't do DC, just like this tester. This tester is actually the easy button that I use sometimes, and I'll explain how I use that and why I use this easy button. But it shows you, with the ground and everything, this tester does. Okay, so let's go through. Now I was going to go back to this tester. This is the tester I normally use for DC, because the other testers won't do AC. And this tester I actually got from Radio Shack. If you remember Radio Shack, and when I bought this, Radio Shack had the newest technology of all of everywhere you could go. So you went to Radio Shack and you bought this. Now I'm going to put that one down. Now this, everything you've seen so far is basically on a homestead type, non-professional roll. And remember, I'm not an electrician. This is not an educational video. This is for entertainment purposes only. But if I actually got into an industrial roll, you got a fluke. I'm not promoting you go buy a fluke. And let me get it unwrapped. This fluke I've had for, I probably had this fluke for 40 years. But in any case, fluke, it has the digital readout right here. But I'm not saying go buy fluke. I'm just saying from homesteader, well, let's go with homeowners to homesteaders to industrial purposes. Those are some of the testers I actually have. And the reason I'm heavy on testers is, in fact, electrical is, for me, is a ghost. It scares me a little bit. So the more testers I own, the better off I am. But this fluke is up to, I think it's 480 3-phase, and you probably won't find that on Homestead. If you have 220 3-phase on your Homestead, I'd be surprised. Normally you have 220 single phase on your Homestead. Okay, so let's put that away for right now, and let's start out with easy button. This is in a wall, and say I'm doing, which we've done, and I'm going to do again. We've done, houses, and we've ran the wiring for the houses for ourselves, and say we get the downstairs. Well, the last house we did on the Homestead was 2 stories downstairs, and someone says, or I come to the conclusion, it's time to test. We got the live on downstairs, we got the live on upstairs. We want to check and make sure it's got power on all of them, and it's got a ground on all of them. We just take the easy button, and start plugging it in. We plug it in, Everything downstairs is working correctly as far as receptacles, and so we're good. Go upstairs, do the same thing. Everything's got a ground. We're good. But if we have an issue, say we have an issue or a problem, and we need to try to start troubleshooting. Okay, well then I go to, this is old school. This is my old one that I have. And we go to old school and we start figuring out, because everything in this house, in this building you're in right now, should be 120. In another building, we could have some 220 in single phase 220 in that building for different applications, but for receptacles should be 120. If we start getting bad signals through that, this is where you start troubleshooting. If you're going to troubleshoot, you go to this, and the reason I have this meter right here, I'm putting the old one in the background. The reason I have this one right here is if I need to figure out where I have a problem with, then I go to this. The one that's going to be down in the description, of course, will be quite a bit newer than this one, but it'll do AC and DC. So if, say I have a trailer, I'm going to shift roles a little bit. Out of the residential into the trailer, you're on a homestead, you have both. You have trucks, you have trailers, you have tractors, whatever you're going to do. Say you have a light on a tractor that's going bad. You can shift this screen through this, and when I bought that, that was top of the line, to actually DC. So in conclusion, that's a long ways around the barn, but this is a different project. This is for a heat source I haven't figured out yet. Maybe I'll videotape it once I get that gas stove figured out. But the conclusion is, in 2025, I'm going to attempt to expand my skill level, because I think it's important to keep growing and expanding. And if you're wanting to do a simple outlet change in your homestead or your house, I think the most important part of it, and that's why I tried to illustrate the different testers, is to verify that the power is actually off. I think you can get hurt, at least in my case, more extreme and easier trying to do electrical than you can any other project on the homestead. And whether you're using a standard AC tester like I've got, which is an antique, virtually everything I own is an antique, you're doing the easy button to verify power's off, lights will be on, turn the breaker off, lights are off, but I wouldn't utilize this easy button. I would use that and a secondary source of testing, because I'm making every step, or trying to make every step that the power is going to be off. You can use a multimeter if you'd like, which I do periodically, but most of the time if I'm in the house, I do just my AC testers, but I have two multimeters here also. But verify, the most crucial part of this, verifying that the power is in fact off.